because I've gotten some requests to talk a little bit about what's happening in the country now because it's quite unsettling for many people. And so uh, I'll try and share my perspective on it. I'm not saying this is the Buddhist perspective, it's just my perspective as somebody trying to make sense of what's going on by using the Buddhist teachings. Yeah. And so when I thought of it, the word that keeps coming to my mind is compassion, you know, and it's, for all the craziness happening in the country, whether you're talking about the election itself, the new, um, uh, Trump's new vice president pick, the assassination attempt on him, anything, that that's happening in the country that can be very upsetting. How do you look at it with a Buddhist perspective? Well, compassion and wisdom. Compassion because the people who are doing what they're doing are trying to be happy, and they think that what they're doing is the way to gain happiness. I mean, that's the way everybody works, us too, isn't it? We're trying to be happy. Everything we do is, an attempt to be happy. The difference between a Buddhist perspective and or a Buddhist and somebody who isn't a Buddhist is how we seek to create the causes for happiness, what we do to have happiness. Yeah. And so if you don't think about future lives, if you don't have any idea of the human potential that we have, the Buddha nature, what we can actually cultivate in ourselves, the kind of person we can become if we clear away our afflictions and develop the seeds of our good qualities. If you don't know that and nobody's explained that to you, or if you doubt it and you think that we're all hardwired to be self-centered, then the worldly perspective is the one that you have. You know, what do I think will make me happy now? And then you go after that. And, from the Buddhist perspective, we know that that never brings happiness. It might bring me a big rush for a little while, but eventually either it stops or you get a whole new set of problems from it. Yeah. So, so to have compassion for people who have that outlook, and you know, we are no better than them because most of the time we act from that outlook as well. Okay, so why do we do purification practices? Why do we create merit? Because we're trying to change our own perspective. So being a Buddhist is not any reason to consider yourself better than others, because especially if you practice the Mahayana, like Lama Yeshe kept telling us, our mantra should be, I am the servant of others, I am the servant of others, I am the servant of others. So to remember that, yeah. And so as we cultivate the Buddhist view on things, we're developing our wisdom. When we have that view and we apply it, we have the framework of you get reborn in samsara to, and so on. Then when you see sentient beings who don't know about this or who have doubt or just don't care, then, compassion, because these are the sentient beings upon whom our life depends. Yeah, I mean, without all these people doing what they're doing in their different jobs in society, we wouldn't be able to stay alive and have what we have. Yeah, and so we shouldn't, somebody could then say, oh, but, they're harming, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, they're doing that. They're trying to be happy, you know. Um, but still, even if they have afflictive intentions and are deliberately doing things that they know to be harmful, still they have another side of them, which is the side that we have benefited from. People doing their jobs in the world. And so we have food, clothing, medicine, shelter, and all sorts of tech equipment. I think that they used to talk about 4 requisites. I think there's 5 now. You have to have, widgets and digits and all this kind of stuff. Otherwise, you don't have a life these days. Okay, so, to have that perspective. And in the whole assassination thing, what really strikes me is what I think keep coming back to is the kid who did this. And we don't know much about his background. They don't seem to have any clues of what his motive was. Yeah. But still, we know, because of the action, that it was somebody who was confused. And who knows what he went through as a child that, prompted him to think that shooting somebody would relieve his own pain. Yeah. So it's whenever it's somebody young like that, of course, there's a feeling of sadness because there's so much potential in people who are young, and people who are old. Yeah. So move over, Zennies. Yeah. And many millies and X's. Yeah. No. Or is that you say, well, or you just say, okay, Zennies, okay. I don't know. Anyway, whatever you're saying to us boomers, we are booming back to you. Yeah. But, when you see human potential not being put to good use, and instead, this kid doing that, and what does he wind up with? Death and rebirth again, and any potential he had as a human being to encounter the Dharma is gone, at least now. So, that's something very sad, and again, compassion for that kid, and for any other kids who, are thinking to mimic that kind of behavior because they think you then go down in glory. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about the current situation, and all the hoopla in the convention. You have to filter that. Yeah. I mean, because what are conventions for? They're in order to exaggerate. Yeah. That you project some image of perfection and we're going to win because winning is more important than being ethical, in the perspective of many people nowadays, unfortunately. So filter it. We'll use your wisdom filter and filter out what you can see as nonsense or harmful. Mm-hmm. And then vote. I can't tell you who for. Yeah, but use your wisdom, apply your compassion, but definitely people should vote. So people who are expecting some rabble-rousing, enthusiastic talk for how to deal with this craziness, you just got the usual Dharma talk. Okay.